Hello, it's me again, psychologist Yulia Latunenko, with the topic 7 Signs of Toxic Relationships. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I suggest you subscribe and give it a like in advance. And enjoy listening to useful psychology content. So let's start right with the first sign. The relationship begins very quickly, very rapidly. This is a likely sign that the relationship will go down the path of developing into a toxic relationship. Why is that? Because when people quickly merge, they miss a lot of things. They are under the influence of a surge of hormones. They try not to notice what should be noticed. Red flags, as we say, are very quickly and carelessly overlooked because we fall in love with the person. We put on these rose-colored glasses, which are always inherent in the early stage of love, when there is strong infatuation, when there is merging, when I am you, you are me, when we anticipate each other's desires, and when we think that finally we have met someone who will solve all our emotional problems. People with a codependent type of character often find themselves in such relationships. These relationships do not allow people to understand many very important things about values, about the level can be very different in terms of development, about the level of mental and emotional intelligence. These are very important things. People quickly cling to each other, become attached, because in this process of merging, the relationship of a child with their mother is projected. These are the very feelings a child experiences when nursing from their mother's breast. In such a state, people overlook many critical things and very casually suggest moving in together. They start living together very quickly and then gradually discover different interests and different views on how to manage daily life. And then for some reason, because it seems that even in sex, things aren't as good as they seemed at the beginning. That's why a quick start to a relationship with self is a sign that the relationship will take a toxic path. The second sign that a relationship will develop toxically is the so-called ghosting. This is the disappearance and reappearance of a partner. It's hot and cold. It's near and far. When you notice that your new partner, your new chosen one, disappears for a few days and then reappears as if nothing happened and doesn't even explain what it was or can't explain why they disappeared. This means that the relationship is already heading towards being toxic because one partner is using narcissistic behavior with the other, specifically the one who disappears and reappears without any explanation. And it's like a system. It's not just once that the person disappeared because they had some, very serious reasons that they can explain later. But this is a whole system. Or the partner might constantly explain their disappearances with some very strange reasons. But you understand that this is already like a pattern. He disappears, reappears, disappears, reappears. And this indicates that he has an avoidant attachment style. With such a person, it's unlikely to build any kind of quality relationship. The first two signs are seemingly hidden, implicit, and it can be very difficult to recognize them when you're in love, when you see the prince or princess of your life. But the third sign is quite obvious, and you all already know it well. The third sign is related to criticism, devaluation, and giving you evaluations, especially negative ones. The partner compares you to someone else, makes remarks that you did this wrong, did that wrong, judges you, may give unsolicited advice, lecture you, taking on the role of a mentor or advisor. That is, they appoint themselves as your teacher or your daddy or mommy and lecture you, gradually immersing you in feelings of guilt and shame, sort of undermining, cutting down your sense of self-confidence. So now you start thinking, maybe there really is something wrong with me. This is a clear sign that you are dealing with a narcissistic person, and you need to immediately establish boundaries with them, demanding either no criticism, remarks, lectures, and devaluation, or these relationships will be terminated. Believe me, with some narcissistic people, this works. Just set firm boundaries from the very beginning. If you allow this and tolerate it, the problem will only deepen. Tell your partners who criticize, devalue, or lecture you, give unsolicited advice, and treat you condescendingly like teachers to a small child. Give them only 3 options instead of all these toxic tactics they use against you, which is, you can say, you can help me if you see that I'm doing something wrong. Just help with an action. That's the first option. The second option, you can ask me if something bothers you or if I'm crossing your boundaries that I'm unaware of. You can ask and I will stop. And the third, you can offer me a suggestion, an idea on how I can improve the situation. But before you do all this, ask me if I need all this from you or if I need help. Do I need your ideas? That is, you need to set boundaries sharply and clearly from the start. The fourth sign, if you are trying to establish your boundaries, you set them. You say, no, stop. You might be offended by certain things, by some critical words, by devaluation, which is a form of disrespect towards you, disrespectful behavior towards you. And they tell you, you're taking everything too seriously. I was just joking or kidding. Or you're creating a problem out of nothing. It's not like you understand it. You're just perceiving it incorrectly, misunderstanding it. You're exaggerating the problem. Overall, there's something wrong with your perception. It's like, well, a kind of hidden gaslighting, I would say. It's not what you think. None of this exists at all. You've made it all up, exaggerated it. And now you start doubting your own feelings, your own reactions. And often they say, such partners, that your feelings are wrong, your reactions are wrong. This further deepens your self-doubt. You start blaming yourself, thinking that something is wrong with you, when in reality, you just need to soberly look at the fact that you are experiencing emotional abuse in the form of such phrases. Next, we have the fifth sign. But before that, I would like to remind you that it would be very valuable if you subscribe to my channel and like this video. And also write in the comments if you have experienced situations like the ones I mentioned in this video. The fifth sign that the relationship is heading down a toxic path is when you really need your partner's help. You ask for this help, but the partner is never around. At the very moment when you desperately need his help, his presence, his involvement, he is never there. He might even promise something and then cancel. I've had such cases in therapy where a girl says, we agreed that he would take me to the doctor in the morning. He promised, but in the morning he just doesn't answer the calls. Completely disappeared. These are the tricks used by partners with whom it is critically not recommended to build serious relationships. Sixth. The sixth point is a sign. It is very subtle. It is hidden. You might not even realize that this is a sign of a toxic relationship, but the partner creates a sort of fog. He always makes the situation uncertain. You often feel like you're hanging as if on a hook, waiting for something. In other words, he controls the relationship this way, and you, like you're suspended, wait for his decision. That is, you can hear both no and yes in his messages at the same time. So you never know when it will be yes and when it will be no. Complete fog, complete uncertainty. This is a critical sign of a toxic relationship. And the last sign, the seventh, that I would like to mention is that all the conflicts in the relationship, all the clarifications about what happened, all the scandals, all the arguments, somehow occur closer to night or at night when the partner deliberately keeps you awake with these conflicts. This is a kind of exhaustion from nighttime conflicts when the victim is ready to agree to anything because it's torture from the lack of sleep. When a person doesn't sleep at night, they are willing to agree to anything just to be allowed to sleep because they are deprived of the basic need for sleep. And this is a very dangerous situation because if your partner is initiating all the conflicts at night, know that you are being exhausted so that they can manipulate and pressure you more easily. These are the 7 signs of a toxic relationship. Take care of yourself and try to be sober and critical when building relationships with people you don't know well. Observe carefully, don't rush, and measure all the steps your partner takes on the scale of toxicity to non-toxicity. Well, I wish you to find your love if you haven't already, and to be happy in your relationships. Also, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, give it a like, and be sure to leave your comment. Have you ever been in a situation where these 7 signs of a toxic relationship were present?